Well, I'm not really sure how I can classify Re-destro. He is definitely insane. I can definitely say that. However, I'm not really sure if he understands everything that is going on around him. Time changes, and he wants it to go back to a time when it did not. The time of Destro was the time of that revolution, but that revolution is not now anymore. And also, we do see his quirk, and let me tell you, I did not expect someone like Re-destro to have something like this. In fact, what is it even? I cannot even put in the right words to describe it. Re-destro seems to have some kind of size-altering mass quirk, or special ability as you would call it. Because, well, he apparently can increase the mass of his hand to a giant's level. I mean, granted, however, that is very dangerous, don't get me wrong. For someone who is the supreme leader of someone who can control the very fabric of ice, I would think it would have been a lot flashier. But this is the Angry Anime Fan, the Despair Reviewer. And as I said before, this is Boku no Hero Academia. As we see Re-destro fight as well as his quirk, we don't find out what it is. But the copy of Twice copy his crew members as well as many things more as they try to attack Re-destro, who defeats the one of the Twice clones with just one single swipe of his finger. As the tattoos on his head keep on growing, he says that since Giran was a hostage, he didn't intend to kill him, but if you keep on defying me like that, I won't hesitate. So, well, the copies of his league members try to attack Re-destro, but Re-destro destroys them with one single swipe of his giant arm that grows immensely in size and muscle mass. It's a very strange one, but it's worth noting that when he does that, his tattoos seems to change, well, shape, so to speak. So, well, he begins to mock the League of Villains as the Twice clone managed to get to Giran, and it reveals that Giran has lost his fingers on his right hand. Giran is not mad for Twice for anything else. All he can say is that he's sorry as a brooker. However, then Re-destro pulls a reason you suck speech and begins to say that what you are doing are just playing pretend. You do well to scatter in the face of our ambition. Because it now finally, well, it's not exactly clear, but why did Re-destro and the Special Liberation Army wanted to destroy the League of Villains? To take the credit? To mark the return? Well, yes, that was part of it, but it's also to, well, he feels like their cause is barbaric. I find that pretty hypocritical. I mean, Re-destro is someone who has no problem resulting to terrorism if he can get his way, and yet he calls the League of Villains senseless destruction. Either way, he begins to indulge Shiriaki's clone on Special's lessons on how everything of this started. It's a very strange story, but hear me out. Apparently, a very long time ago, note we don't know how long ago though, at least I don't know, a woman in the chaotic world um, gave birth to the first person with a quirk, or a special ability as people like to call it. And of course, people were greatly afraid of that child and hated it. Although it was basically a, well, moment of apocalypse from X-Men. The woman then denounced that her child was a monster and says, "This is my child's quirk." But unfortunately, the citizens' voices drown out the snares of the world as she was murdered by those who opposed the special liberty. Of course, the clone of Shiriaki just cannot understand what Re-destro means by mother of all quirks. And apparently you learned this in school because, well, Shiriaki didn't really attend school. As he mentions that heroes came, vigilantes came, and government began to use quirk, he has proclaimed that he believes that whatever they're doing is nothing more than oppression, which is why he wants to liberate the world. He doesn't just want to create a world where you can use your abilities freely. He also feels like he wants to change everything else. He doesn't even like the name Quirk. That's nothing more than a simple name change. To Re-destro, everything that has been happening is still a suppression. The government is controlling the Quirks because, and that is preventing people from living freely. That's how he sees the world. So, and then he proclaims for this that the same world that the real Destro proclaimed a long time ago. This is not the future the mother wished for. We wish for a world where special abilities are quirk in the truest sense. And that was the and Re-destro fanatically believes in that process. Note, is the way that Re-destro says these things here that makes this a little bit interesting, or at least a little bit strange. According to his words, Destro said, "This is not the future that Mother wished for." Was Destro being literal, or was he just being poetical? Because again, I have no idea when the first Quirk baby was born, or even why Quirk even exists in the first place. Maybe one day we will dive into that. I just hope we won't end up with a storyline that eliminates all Quirk from the world. So he proclaims himself that he has inherited the will of Destro, and he proclaims that the League of Villains are nothing more than hold'ems who has nothing but destruction on their minds. Their ambitions doesn't match ours. That's why he wants to destroy them. He feels like the League of Villains have no ambitions, and it's just destruction. It's true that the League of Villains are with destruction, but that's just it. They are becoming invincible villains. Turmoils that cannot be stopped. It's then that the clone of Shirayaki tells Dab twice to clone himself and make a cushion, because the real him will very likely destroy the tower, and indeed he does, by aciding up. As the real Shirayaki sees Re-destro, he recognizes him as someone from the Dimensional commercials. Elsewhere, however, Re-destro, with his tattoo covering both his eyes, just says that it looks like I won't hear the chance to hear your answer. Because he asked the clone of Shirayaki, does your ragtag group of hold'ems with nothing but destruction on their minds think that their ambitions could outweigh ours? Re-destro is pissed now, but the two bosses are now facing off against each other, so we will see what happens. I didn't expect it this soon, but that's good as long as this arc goes on. Quickly, I mean. And again, Re-destro's quirk. A quirk that allows him to somehow grow his arms, or perhaps even his body, in giant sizes, increasing the muscle mass, defense, and perhaps even the attacking power of his ability. No idea why he has a quirk like that, but we'll see. And also, the mother of all quirks, as Re-destro called her. I wonder really, who is this? I mean, it's true that society did fear quirks in old age. Even in the old age, we even saw that with Alpha One. But what did Destro really want? That he really was he really intending to have find way to make sure that everyone's quirk was liberated so they can be fully used? It doesn't seem like Re-destro doesn't seem to proclaim that. Letting your ability loose is just gonna first cause further chaos in society. He feels society is controlling quirks, and in a way they are. But if people use their quirks too much, like everything else, there will be no control. And with this no control, it wouldn't be anyone. So yeah, that's basically it. Some nice action. Other than that, not really much to happen. But again, Re-destro's quirk, what is that really? But Twice was still cool here. So give me your false if you have any.